Hello, welcome back. Today's topic, I'm thinking about looking at our personalities that is always a healthy idea to check in with regularly, like a self-awareness check-in. More so to look and reflect to see, are we contributing to the world? Are we mindful of our behaviors and the impact that we have on our environment, people around us? There's some personality traits that are more admirable for humans than others. For example, you might want to be a generous, loyal person full of integrity, more so than someone who is annoying and obtrusive and loud and obnoxious. If you've ever been called a certain word about a description about your personality or how you're impacting others in your environment, if someone has spoken out to your face, or if you've heard people say something about you in a circle that you may or may not have been in, then you ought to know to give yourself a self check-in, to ask yourself like a personality audit. You want to audit your personality and think, oh my God, am I really that annoying? Am I really annoying all these people by just how I'm talking or the fact that I'm showing up somewhere that I'm not invited to? Or am I being invasive on someone's privacy and being annoying? Am I not respecting people's boundaries and that's annoying? Am I using words that are not really thought of and contain a level of vocabulary that is beneath the standard 5 levels? Is that not an annoying impact on even speaking at all? These kind of questions, these are healthy things to consider when you're observing your personality. And then you can kind of look at your character and your personality and think, well, maybe I could be a little more mature in this situation, or I could maybe stay silent more and speak when I actually have something of relevance to say instead of just yapping background noise that is annoying, for example. So being conscious of our voice, our movement. Am I standing in somebody's way and blocking them with my body? Or am I aware? I have body awareness where I have spatial awareness that says, I can give you personal space if you're at the counter going to cash something or check in or check a bag or make a purchase. Is somebody like up under you? Are you that kind of person that has no obvious boundaries of another human's personal space? Or are you respectful in the sense that you can give a person respectful distance and space, even at the counter while you're paying or transacting something? These are all notes to consider when you're going to do your personality audit. Now, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but as we grow and evolve as humans, we learn new skills of ways to do things better. And that's the point of this conversation. So look at yourself in the mirror, look at your environment. Is your house clean? Have you done the dishes? Do you put away things? Are you untidy? Are you messy? Are you lazy? Are you playing too many video games and your family feels neglected from you and your presence? Or are you showing up and being responsible and taking action and getting your family and community involved in doing things like cleaning up or doing a beach cleanup or cleaning up your house, just as like a little introduction. So stick around if that is something you might want to reflect on with me. I am Annie Lewis, personal wellness coach, and we help people evolve and grow to your next level of life. Okay, so as in any school or education, you start off in kindergarten, you go to your infant level, then you go to your primary level, and then there's secondary level, and then there's tertiary level, and then there's even, many people who graduate with a doctorate end up having their degree in their 30s because they study for years and come out with a PhD or as an author or somebody of significance, diplomat in the world, and so forth. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here now so that we can look at my blog that I just posted, and the title is, lo and behold, how not to be a pathetic person in the world. Okay, because what we can all agree on is nobody wants to be annoyed or have an annoying person around. And if you have been communicated with directly or indirectly and you don't get the hint and you don't change your behavior, society can label you as pathetic, okay? Because we are all, as humans, able to control to a degree our environment at bare minimum, whether that is organizing your belongings at bare minimum, not being invasive on people's privacy at bare minimum, respecting people's boundaries at bare minimum. Okay, not speaking about people who do not even know you exist at bare minimum, especially with negative connotation, especially when your house is a mess. Okay, have you taken the trash out? Are you sloppy? Have you done your laundry? How's your body odor? These are things you need to consider as a person before you look to point fingers or talk about anybody else. Take a look at yourself. All right, so how not to be a pathetic person in the world, okay? Let's start there. Let's be honest. Nobody wakes up and says, today I want to be useless, bitter, lazy, unreliable, emotional, messy, and constantly offended by the success of others. People don't choose to become pathetic in one dramatic moment. It happens slowly. It happens through repeated excuses, weak standards, poor discipline, and poor discipline can even reflect further into not even going to the gym or exercising or moving your body and having the audacity to criticize another human being when you're a lazy slob. That is just the worst and the most pathetic personality trait. And the habit of blaming everything on everyone else but yourself is pathetic. If we had a whole, scan of the world's events and behaviors, and we really took an audit of 8 billion people and said, this behavior, pathetic. Your behavior, pathetic. That action, pathetic, 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 right? Take a look at yourself in the mirror and take some responsibility for yourself. Number one, being pathetic is not about being poor. It's not about failing. It's not about being tired or overwhelmed, inexperienced, or in a difficult season. No, everyone struggles, whether you struggle with body pain, you have an injury that you can't go to the gym and work your shoulders, you can't do a certain exercise because you have a knee pain, you struggle with technology and staying advanced into having technical skills, you struggle with meal prep or going to the gym, maybe it's time management, maybe it's communication, maybe it's writing, maybe it's reading, maybe it's math. Everyone struggles some way or another. Everyone has moments where life feels heavy. You think it's hard. It's too hard to pick up a book and read. It's easier to turn on the TV and fill my mind with trash. The real problem starts when struggle becomes an excuse for you to stop growing. And because you choose all of your excuses to stop growing, you then look at other people's growth as a personal offense to your decision to become a lazy person who decides to not study, not read, not get an education, and stop growing. Okay? So that's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. If you have nothing better to do in your life, not even pick up a book, learn something, learn a new skill, but instead to point fingers and criticize other people, given your pathetic behaviors that you demonstrate and operate at on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly level, that is pathetic. A pathetic mindset is not created by difficulty. It's created by surrendering your personal responsibility because of difficulty. The first rule, if you want to not be pathetic, it's simple. Stop making excuses your personality. There will always be an excuse. Oh, it was raining, I couldn't go to the gym. Oh, I couldn't leave the house to buy the vegetables because I was rushed and I had no time, so I had to buy the junk food. Oh, well, I had no time to cook because I have a new baby or exercise, and my life is just too demanding. There's always going to be excuse. You can find an excuse for everything if you want to, or you can find a solution and you get the task done. It's simple as that. It is that black and white. It is a decision. You can decide, am I going to be pathetic today and laze around on the couch all day long and completely ignore my responsibilities? Or am I going to get my stuff done, make sure it's done to at least 70 to 80% standard, and then take a rest on the couch for an hour after or before I exercise? Bare minimum, walk for 30 minutes. It's really not that difficult. And it's really further not that difficult for you to choose that life and to stop talking about other people who are choosing better for themselves. All right? So excuses may explain why something is hard, but they don't build you a better life. They don't. An excuse is something that will ruminate in your mind for the rest of your life and make you feel lower and lower and lower over time. And it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse, until all you become is a pathetic person full of excuses. At some point, you have to decide whether you want sympathy or progress. Sympathy may comfort you for a moment, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. And then you just get sick of yourself and you get sick of the sympathy because you realize it's pathetic. It's so pathetic every time you look at yourself in the mirror. Every time you wake up, you just feel sick to your stomach of how pathetic of a person you really are. So much so that you still have the audacity to hate on other people or troll the internet because you're that pathetic. Okay? So sympathy comforts you for a moment. Progress changes your future. Depends. Do you want a future of comfort to get fat and obese on the couch where no one's going to be driving your growth, and instead put you in circles that just deplete you and completely derail you in the wrong direction? Or do you want to be a person that stands up for yourself, makes no excuses, gets things done, shows up, takes action, has the audacity to have some initiative? Initiative is a good word. A person who wants to improve is a completely different type of person than the comfort excuses mindset type person. So a person who wants to improve asks, what can I do next? How can I show up better? How can I improve? How can I be better than I am next year than this year? How do I evolve again? What do I have to learn? What skills do I want? You give yourself like a curiosity audit and you get feedback from your surroundings. What can I improve on? You can say, well, people who love you the way you are and don't want you to change. Okay, great. If that serves you and you're in perfect health and you're happy, then you have no reason to hate on anybody. So you won't be trash talking anybody else or bad talking anybody. If that works for you and you're completely happy and you feel loved just the way you are, awesome. If you think your life is perfect and on track, awesome. But this is for the people who really are pathetic, absolutely pathetic, Because a person committed to staying stuck always asks, well, who can I blame about this? Why do I feel stuck? Who can I blame about X, Y, and Z? Whose fault is this? That is pathetic because you need to take responsibility for what's yours and give back other people's projections to what's theirs. Another thing that is pathetic is if you are constantly looking to bully other people, and if you are constantly looking to troll the internet because you're so bitter and unhappy about your current life situation that you refuse to take direct action on and be a problem solver. And that just makes it even more pathetic. The second rule is to keep your word. Integrity is one of my favorite values because I learned it makes me feel good about myself. And I really love that value. You'll hear me bring it up. I worked with some of my mentors to refine, what's important to me, and my word is important to me. I'm on a call and my word is so important to me that I feel like integrity is really that important. But for you, you may not. You might lie all the time, lie, 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 lie. You might just say whatever you think is important that people might like you, and therefore you just evolve into a more fake, inauthentic person where people can feel that energy and that vibe, especially on elite levels and circles. You can smell fakeness from a mile. You can smell, you can just look at someone and be like, oh, that's so fake. Ew, that's not authentic, like they're lost. Like you can look at a person and think, wow, they look so lost. Like you can see those things. The higher levels you climb, it's like you become even more of an open book in some circles. And integrity is one of those things I learned is important to me because I've been called out on my stuff and I'm okay with that because I like to evolve and I'm like, okay, I didn't even see that about myself. So I'm just going to add that in, refine that, and evolve through it. And I love people who give me that feedback and they respect me the same because that to me is integrity and clear communication. There's no room for confusion. It's upfront, gentle, but straight to the point, and then move on. You evolve, I evolve, chit chat, and we like that style. So it sounds basic, but it is rare. And so if you say you're going to do something, you just do it. Otherwise, you just zip it and don't say anything. Or you say, well, I would like to see this happen, but I can't commit to it because I don't know if I can actually make it a reality. Or you say, no, I really want to do this. Let's make it happen. Or, okay, I said I am working out 3 days a week. I have the integrity to show up to work out 3 days a week because I said so. If I say I'm going to eat healthy for the rest of my life, that's called integrity because every meal I eat will be healthy. And similarly for you, you can do something similar, okay? And that's how integrity works. Again, I have already done this work of auditing my development and character development over decades ago. People who say they knew me from high school probably will not recognize me today. And even if they did, I won't have any acknowledgement for them for the most part, unless I really have been building a real relationship and real communication with someone to be able to see me clearly and have a relationship with me today in 2026. You will notice me here, you will hear me notice, you will notice me speaking things like, okay, I will not be behaving in the way that I did in my teenage years because I was just a student learning playing soccer. I'm in my 30s now. I'm evolving into fashion. I want to have my brand. I want to have my design. I want to have my YouTube channel. I've wanted my YouTube channel since my 20s. I love my YouTube channel. I set that as a goal for myself. And to me, because I said so, I'm doing it. And that is how I live my life by that standard of integrity. So when I looked at my character, I said, well, there's some traits I'm going to leave in the past, never to be addressed or looked at again. And there's some traits that I want for my future. And that's what I'm committed to. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, And if you don't agree with it, I'll just say, well, you're pathetic. And that's pathetic behavior because I don't need your approval. The same way you could decide how you want to audit your own personality and ask whoever cares about whoever's approval, you need to do that. But as far as Annie Lewis is concerned, I do not need your approval. And if you do have a criticism for me advancing in a better way, time and time again, I will just look at you and say, you're so pathetic. That's how it is. Okay? And when you keep your word, you feel better as a human. You could decide you want to be a liar and a fraud and you want to be faking and future faking and creating illusions for people and manipulating people and living in your dark triad or quad dark whatever and enjoying being a liar, whatever. Just not my style. That's all. It's just not my style. I don't want that for myself. So it's up to you, each to their own, but you don't go and criticize me for wanting to live a life with integrity. That's all I'm saying. Because you know why? If you do that, that's pathetic. All right? So if you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you can't, you communicate early. You don't disappear, delay, lie, pretend, and create confusion because you may as well be classified as a kindergartner if that is the behavior you would like to show the world that you are operating at. Because I have not seen a healthy, mature adult operate with those kind of characteristics. Personally, at the highest levels of elite performance in the world, those traits, delaying, lying, pretending, creating confusion, doesn't exist. And I wouldn't want that to exist in my future either. So I would put that on the pathetic table and I would separate that and say, stay over there. If you want to continue to be pathetic, even with the knowledge that that's pathetic and you want to have those personality traits and you don't want to fix it, okay, but stay over there and leave me be. Capiche? Good. Reliability is one of the easiest ways to separate yourself from the weaker crowd. Just remember, people lie when they're feeling weak, scared. And therefore, I saw a varying number of personalities on my travels from living abroad. For more than 10 years, I've lived abroad. And what I loved were the people who showed up that were a little more confident and courageous than I was. I was a bit shy and timid, and they were honest and straight speaking and upfront. And I was like, wow, I like that personality trait. I would like to practice that. And then I figured if I practice that, I'll become more like that. And so I just decided to become more like that. And a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't, but I don't mind because I chose that for myself. If I found myself acquiring personality traits that I didn't like, then I would audit again, work with different doctors, and fix a few things. But once I'm happy with my personality traits, I like how I communicate when I am in my flow, my routine, I have everything that I need. I like my personality trait. Maybe you might say it's fake, but to me, it's built. I built who I am today. I like my traits that I've chosen, refined, my skills. It's a built person. So it is my authentic being because I have routinely and habit trained myself to be who I am today. To me, that's real authentic. That's not fake. That is a person who has grown. To you, if you're still criticizing because you did not choose to develop yourself or your character over the last 15 years, it's not my problem. That's pathetic. And number two, just go and study somewhere else. I also offer a range of services that teach people all of these skills. And I've always been open to answer questions and put people on to resources when people approach me and say, hey, I like what you're doing with this AI and, where did you learn that? I like what you're doing with this wellness. How did you get that healthy stuff? Can you show me something? That's the kind of conversation I'm accustomed to, as opposed to people saying, well, this whole AI thing, let's try to trash it. It's not a bubble, it's not going to burst. It's a tool. Technology is here to help humans advance and to have less injuries, and we exist to evolve, to have healthy bodies, healthy minds, reduce and prevent different diseases around the world. It's really straightforward. I mean, if you're really still hating on that, that is you and your patheticness. Okay? That's a fact. All right. So you don't need to be the smartest person in the room to be respected. You need to be consistent, honest, and dependable. It's really not that difficult. It's really simple. But some people, this is hard. If you can't be honest with yourself, how are you going to be honest with anyone else? You need to be honest. You need to have consistency. People ask me, well, why are you so confident? Why am I confident? Okay, well, first of all, if I say I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. If I say I'm going to get something done, I get it done. If I say I'm going to design this by Tuesday at 4 p.m., you best believe I have designed this by Tuesday at 4 p.m. That, to me, makes me feel good, makes me feel confident doing what I said I was going to do. To me, it's simple. I don't see why you are telling yourself you're going to go to the gym 3 days a week and you're not going. I don't know why you keep telling yourself you're going to start a healthy diet on Monday and you have a cycle that you're repeating, binging out on junk food and sweets. That's not my problem. I have a book you can buy to help you solve that problem. I have courses, I have all sorts of resources because it is a problem. But you don't look at a confident person and say, let's try to tear her down because you don't have the audacity to have integrity. That's pathetic. Point blank, period. So a pathetic person wants results without any discipline. They want respect but no responsibility. Responsibility to me feels good. I like it. To me, that makes me feel confident. Yeah, I feel responsible. If somebody does need to rely on me for something, I feel confident that I have the skill set to do that. That's not to say that that level of responsibility is something to be used or abused, because I have boundaries and I have a price and I have a business and I have a consultancy where that level of responsibility is highly respected and highly paid. At the same time, it is a very trusted skill to be a responsible person. Because if you're not a responsible person, that's up to you to decide how you live your life. I like being a responsible person. And if I decide to have a day off or two of being responsible, I like to surround myself with responsible people that I can have a shoulder when need be. And that to me is community and support, because it is hard. It's just a challenging way to be, but that's parenting, that's teaching, that's being a voice in the world, that's diplomacy, that is being a coach, that is being a business owner, an entrepreneur. Responsibility and discipline go hand in hand. It just is what it is. People want admiration without putting in any effort. You need to really look at yourself in the mirror. How much effort do you actually put in? How many hours are you spending sacrificing your social time studying, reading extra content for fun, learning audiobooks, going to conferences to meet other people, investing your income in coaches and growth and developing your skill set, your brain, your communication style? How much effort and putting a dollar behind it? How much money are you spending in yourself for you to want a level of admiration that you can justify has no effort that you have placed. Please reflect on that, all right? Because they want a better body, better money, better relationships, better confidence, better opportunities. But you know what they don't want? They don't want to become the kind of person that earns these things. That is where life becomes embarrassing for you because you're pathetic. You cannot keep asking for a better life while protecting habits that keep you average or less than average or at a basic primary school level education vocabulary level in your communication style. You also have to stop being jealous. Stop being jealous of people who are doing the work that you are refusing to do. If you don't do the work, don't be jealous because somebody else is outworking you or doing the work that you are literally not doing. Okay? Jealousy is one of the most unattractive habits in the world. And it makes you small and pathetic. Small in the sense of small-minded. Small in the sense of you have a small perspective of what human life on this planet is. There are 8 billion people on the planet. The planet is bigger than 1.5 million people on an island. It's bigger than just the USA. It's bigger than just Asia. It's bigger than just Australia. It's bigger than just Africa's. It's bigger than just the Europe. It's bigger than just England as an island. It's 8 billion people. Your one perspective, if we were to look at 8 billion people's mental perspectives of human life on this planet, that would be a good place to start because just because you think life is a certain way and your high school or primary school level education is telling you that level of a perspective, speak to somebody with a PhD. And if I were you, I would zip it. You know why? Because that would make you look real pathetic. So instead of studying what successful people are doing and saying, well, they made their money like this and they're such a bad person and I can't believe they're buying this and I can't believe they're shopping this and how are they allowed to do that and blah, 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 and criticize, and why are they getting this? And that is pure jealousy and you need to control that for yourself. If you are constantly criticizing other people in a negative approach, not even a constructive criticism that's helping a person grow, which are two different types of criticism. If it's a criticism that's literally just trying to push somebody down, that's a reflection on you to show you how pathetic you are. Because nobody who's doing the work has time to look around and criticize somebody. So it makes you look pathetic that you're even saying that aloud in front of other people to hear you criticizing another person. So instead of learning, they mock. Instead of improving, they gossip. That is definitely not intelligence, obviously. That is insecurity wearing very cheap perfume. So a bad approach is to become curious instead of bitter. If someone is fit, disciplined, successful, well-dressed, respected, wealthy, calm, skilled, confident, ask better questions. What habits do they have? Can they teach me? How much do they charge? What standards do they keep? What do they avoid? What do they practice? What do they sacrifice? How much have they sacrificed? You don't have to copy everyone, but you should be mature enough to learn from people who are producing better results than you. Another way to avoid becoming pathetic is to manage your emotions like an adult. Having feelings is normal. poking other people to get a reaction is annoying. You don't show up to spend time with somebody to poke at them to probe a reaction from them. That's very immature and very childish, first of all. And not respecting a person's boundaries is also pathetic. Like if someone says, stop poking at me, or you're annoying me with your invasive questions, or stop in infiltrating into my privacy, like that's a boundary, and you keep poking at someone to annoy them, to get an emotion out of them, that is just pathetic. Point blank, period. Like that's just like absolutely pathetic. Like having feelings is normal, but looking to rage bait someone or get a negative reaction out of someone makes you look really pathetic. Like get a life. Making everyone responsible for your feelings. You cannot explode, sulk, manipulate, withdraw, or play victim every time life does not flatter you. Emotional discipline is a life skill. Learn how to pause, learn how to respond, learn how to apologize, learn how to be disappointed. If you're an athlete and you're playing tennis and you have to be a good sportsman. We learned this from young as a gymnast, and a lot of the times I hit podiums, we're winning first. Sometimes I was second, sometimes I was third. But in sport, you know how to lose as a fair loser, and you also know how to win and take home your trophies. And you don't become destructive in that process. It is simple. There will be more competitions, there will be more things to do, there will be more events where you can show up. You do not go to destroy another human because you have some sort of problem. And maybe it starts with the problem that you are not even cleaning up your environment or doing your exercises, and maybe your diet is a mess. So don't be pathetic. You need to take care of your body, and doesn't mean you need to look perfect, but it does mean you need to stop treating your health like an old rented car. Your body carries your work, your relationships, your confidence, your energy, your future. If you're constantly feeding it trash, overfeeding, depriving of sleep, refusing to move, get fresh oxygen, you're ignoring filling up your brain with vocabulary and building your linguistic skills, learning new languages, feeding your mind as well as your body, ignoring warning signs, getting injured, not learning the proper formations, choosing ego in the gym instead of functional exercise. Don't act shocked when your energy, mood, or discipline collapse. Don't be shocked about it, especially if you ignore the recommendations from professionals. Taking care of yourself is not vanity, it's basic self-respect. And even when you go in an airplane, just remember you always have to put on your oxygen mask first before you tend to another person. That's not vanity. That's called, if you don't put on your oxygen masks, the rest of humanity will watch you suffocate. Don't call that vanity. And the same applies to your mind. Be careful of what you consume. If your daily diet is gossip about people in your community, or what's going on in the news, it's making you anxious, or if you're a mom and you have mom sports drama of who's cheerleading and this and that, and and this all outrage and shallow entertainment and negativity and comparison, your thinking will become weak. Your mind needs better material to focus on. You might want to read something actually useful. Listen to people who challenge you, not aggressively, but maybe a nudge of, have you considered this book instead of what you're reading now? Do you want to try to use a better word that is not obtrusive or using foul language? Would you like to practice learning French to talk about rather than talking about somebody else? You know, great minds talk about ideas and concepts and building and brands and creating. And they say the smallest, least educated minds are always just talking about people. And they can't even see themselves. You need to see yourself. Because if you are overweight, eating junk food, and your house is a mess, before you ever speak about another person, fix your life. Furthermore, organize to do like a cleanup. Maybe your neighborhood is littering everywhere, and maybe your whole place looks like trash. Maybe your whole neighborhood looks like trash. Why don't you try to get your community together and clean up all the trash? You know, the amount of beach cleanups I've gone underwater diving and found trash on the floors of the ocean. Just in my free time for fun. Cleaning up after you messy, messy, pathetic people litter everywhere. It's disgusting. Cleaning up after you all. Can't even have the decency to know how to throw something in the bin and not litter on the earth. That makes you pathetic. And the audacity to go and gossip about another person when you could be doing something like cleaning up the earth that you're littering on. Pathetic. Your mind needs better material. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You also want to understand money because maybe you're spending on really stupid stuff and therefore you feel broke, poor, and underperforming because you're spending on items that are not giving you a good return. Maybe you need to learn how to spend better. You want to understand health. You want to be sick, carry on with whatever, not caring about what I'm saying. Just if you don't want to be healthy and healthy to you is not cool and it's too expensive, don't listen to me then. You know, it's very expensive to get heart surgery and gastric bypass surgery. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars for each heart transplant or obesity operation. Each hospital visit, if you get cancer, it might be $200,000 to $300,000. But by all means, don't listen to me. I am a nutritionist. Anything I say, hey, you do want to book in one-on-one to have a private consultation. Don't take this advice directly, even though I'm qualified. Personal approach and guidance is always recommended. You will hear me chat about diet and health tips, but you always want to check in with your doctor and your nutritionist with a paid consultation to ensure that you get the personalized recommendations you need for your health and wellness. You want to understand how the world works, understand communication. What are you even saying? What are the words that come out of your mouth? Do you even make sense? Are you just blabbering? Do you have anything of relevance to actually say? Do your words, are your words even real or impactful, or are they just frivolous? They're just noise in a space. They have no meaning. They're just empty. Are you funny? Are you using funny words? Or are you communicating with any intention? Do you try to connect with somebody really, or you just say something to shut someone up? You know, what is your communication style? What does communication even mean to you? Are you just there to communicate destructively? Is your vocabulary filled with destructive words that you like to destroy things with your words? What is going on in your mind? Do you need to clean up your brain and your vocabulary? Or are you going to be pathetic for the rest of your life? A lazy mind eventually creates a lazy life. One of the fastest ways to become less pathetic is to stop needing applause for every small thing you do. And if you do want admiration or you want someone to notice, hey, I took out the trash. Hey, I cleaned up. Hey, I organized this. Then just say, hi, I organized this. What do you think? People are not gonna just notice, oh, you organized that great. Like if you want admiration for doing a task that is recommended, then maybe you have to communicate that to your people in your environment that say, I need to feel validated by you speaking the fact that you saw that I rearranged this room and I cleaned this cupboard and I want you to acknowledge it and say something on it. That's up to you to tell a person to tell you what you need to hear, because that other person might be like, I'm just going to the gym and I'm just cleaning up after myself and I'm just living my life. Like, I didn't acknowledge you. I didn't think it was my duty to acknowledge you. But if you need that, I don't see the problem with that if you want that validation, but you need to realize that not everything does require public validation. As an author, I really liked that public validation of people knowing Annie Lewis is a published author. Her book is on Amazon. That I worked hard for. To me, it felt like having a PhD level of my degree where everything is based on nutrition and life science. That to me is important. And sometimes you need to improve quietly, work quietly, heal quietly, train quietly, study quietly, build quietly. The world doesn't owe you a standing ovation because you finally started doing what responsible people do every day. No. However, if you, like I did, I published my book and I got invited into the room in Palm Beach where I get to be in a circle of the best wellness professionals and anti-aging doctors in wellness world in the world. To me, that's enough of a validation. Do I need to go on stages and sell my book and put it everywhere in my local hometown bookshop? You know, buy it, don't buy it, buy someone else's book. To me, that invitation was enough. Another important rule, and the thing is, I told the people who were important to me when I wrote my book, the message that was there, who it was for, and there's some people who showed up to celebrate with me and congratulate me, and some people left my life. So that's one thing you learn too, that hitting your goals, sometimes people don't want to celebrate with you and they actually leave. So that always gets interesting. Another important rule is stop confusing confidence with arrogance. Real confidence is built through competence. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. Learn the hard things, handle the pressure, become useful. Fake confidence is loud, defensive, easily offended, for sure. It needs attention because it has no foundation. Build real confidence by becoming someone you trust. If you were left alone to your own devices to live, feed yourself, go to the gym, nobody's coming as a trainer, nobody's coming as a chef, nobody's coming as a personal assistant. Can you trust yourself? Ask yourself that question. And please, become useful. Usefulness is underrated. Be the person who solves problems, not the person who creates them. Be the person who brings clarity, not chaos. Be the person who helps, learns, contributes, improves the room. A useful person has value everywhere. And put a price tag on that. That's another skill to add to your income stream. A useless person is annoying and pathetic because why are you even here? It needs constant managing, but also constant removal from like nobody wants you here. You are not invited. Your energy sucks and you're annoying and you don't show up. You don't communicate, and that's useless. When times get rough, you're not reliable, you're not consistent, you have nothing to bring to the table, your words are even empty, fake, empty, arrogant, annoying, obtrusive. You need constant reminders to show up to be a decent human being. You need constant rescuing because you're putting yourself in positions that are making you a useless person in society, causing mayhem and just making life worse for the world because you are just an arrogant, annoying, pathetic person trolling the internet, trying to get into rooms nobody wants you in because your energy just sucks. And you need constant emotional maintenance because of your lies, and you just lie and lie and lie and be fake. You don't want to be that person, and those kind of people are certainly not welcome in my green balance. If you start there and you want to pay or invest, you have to pay a lot of money at that level to even be near my green balance in our community. You don't get access. No, no. Most certainly not. You also need standards. Standards for how you speak, how you dress, standards for how you work, standards for how you spend, standards for who you date, standards for how you treat people, standards for what you allow in your life. Without standards, life will assign you whatever's easiest, cheapest, and closest. People without standards often call it going with the flow, but sometimes the flow is headed straight into mediocrity. I don't go with the flow. Growth also requires accountability. You need people around you who can tell you the truth without you falling apart. If everyone in your life has to flatter you, soften everything, and protect your ego, you're not growing. However, you can have a contrast of truth and support. You want to have someone to soften things for you and protect your ego while pushing you to growth, because let's face it, nobody wants to be crushed and growing. You want to be supported and growing, but you need to know your threshold of discomfort that allows you to grow. Anything too much, call it out. If it's not supportive, you call it out. Your community needs to support you. But if they are telling you the truth, then, be gentle. If you're lying, that is the worst. You don't want people lying to you because then you'll be emotionally babysat, and strong people can hear correction. Weak people treat correction like an attack. Learn the difference. And this is the difference between criticism and constructive criticism. For example, let's say I, as a professional, have decided that I'm going to invest my next 5 paychecks after I invest into my savings and my responsibilities, that I would like to focus on designing a few fashion pieces. A constructive criticism would be a friend that sits with me and says, I liked this material and this design. I didn't really like that material and that design or that pairing. Let's go with more of these. Let's do less of those. Then you go to invest. And then a non-constructive criticism would be a person saying something like, I don't like that outfit. I don't like that material. Do you see the difference? So you have to really be in a circle that knows how to communicate with you. Otherwise, you're in a circle that could be toxic because If you don't like someone's arts, that's fine. But if you don't like a material, then you can say, I don't really like this material that you chose, but I like this fit. Would you maybe, I think, from your constructive criticism perspective, I think maybe this design would work on a different material, like a cotton or a linen. Maybe I don't want to do the tweed. Cool, I can respect that. But if you're gonna say, yeah, I don't like it, to me, that's not the kind of circle I want to be around. And I don't consider that weak or strong. I just think that's rude. Um, because there's a way to say things. And if a person is designing, then you just say a feedback or constructive criticism that allows the product to improve. And that is where that knowledge, education, intuition is important to differentiate how you're communicating to someone. Or if we have a beverage line of 5 flavors, people have different preferences. You might like one, you might think one's too sweet, you might not like another flavor, you might think one flavor is not sweet enough. That's different preferences. So you might say, well, I love this flavor, but I wish it was a little less sweet. That's constructive criticism, but that's also your unique taste profile. There's a whole selection of drinks. Maybe just stick to the drink flavor that you like. And don't try the others if you're not gonna like them. Or if you don't like it, just buy the one you like and stick to that one, So there's a flow of how to do that. And you need to learn the difference because that's what makes life fun. If you're designing your house and you say, I'm having a housewarming for all my friends to come over, and one of your friends say, well, I think your new house is ugly, and I don't like your art, and I don't like this, and I think this is awful, and I don't want to, like, that is not what you want at your housewarming or your welcoming party. Maybe you show up to your housewarming friend's house, or your people show up to your house with a gift or a towel or whatnot, hand towels, and they say, well, I love this color contrast, and this towel might match really well with this color of this X, Y, and Z. Maybe you might want to try gray towels more so than this turquoise blue towels. This material might be more comfortable. Another thing, stop romanticizing your own chaos. Being disorganized, late, unhealthy, broke, dramatic, messy, emotionally unstable is not a personality type. It's a warning sign. You can be fun without being irresponsible. You can be creative without being unreliable. You can be sensitive without being fragile. You can be unique without being difficult to deal with. A non-pathetic person does not need a life to be perfect before they take action. They will start where they are. They will use what they have. They clean the room. They send the email. They take the walk. They pay the bill. They pay the bills on time. They read books. They get their work done. They make the call. They apologize. They practice. They try. They try again. They try. They try again. They don't wait for motivation to rescue them because they understand that discipline often has to arrive before motivation does. The truth is, nobody's coming to build your character for you. People may support you, guide you, encourage you, hold your hand, open doors for you, but they cannot become disciplined on your behalf. Sometimes even the doors they open might make you really unhappy when you see what's on the other side. They cannot make you honest. They cannot make you brave. They could be a shoulder to lean on, to borrow braveness from, or borrow confidence from, but again, that's not yours. That's still not you. And they cannot make you consistent. At some point, you have to decide if your future deserves a better version of you, or if that's the pathetic version of yourself you would like to be for the rest of your life, with that pathetic story you keep telling yourself. You stop worshiping excuses, you keep your word, you take care of your body, you train your mind, control your emotions, you become useful. You raise your standards, you learn from people instead of envying them. You stop begging for validation and start building evidence. You become the kind of person whose life reflects effort, not just complaints. And most importantly, you refuse to let one bad season become your entire identity. You can fail and not be pathetic. You can struggle and not be pathetic. You can start over and not be pathetic. What makes a person pathetic is not that you fall or you forget something or you're late or something. It's the decision that something throws you off and you decide you're a victim for life and you give up. You blame everything, resent everybody who kept moving forward while you stayed back. And for example, when I passed my AI exams in 2021, I had already decided I'm moving into AI full force. The rest of the world in 2022 still skeptical of AI, 2023 still skeptical of AI. You think I am going to allow the world to tell me after I passed my exams, did my research, studied everything, became an author, decided I was going to be in AI for the next 40, 50 years of my life, that I would listen to your high school thought about AI? Please. That to me is pathetic. Because now it's 2026, and let me hear, is everybody using AI? Is everybody using AI in their business tools? Anyways, so the fact is, just zip it. Sometimes you don't know everything, and you actually sound pathetic thinking AI is a bubble when it's really just a tool that humanity is evolving with, like how the email is a tool. Google is a tool. YouTube is a tool. Like, it's really not that difficult to understand unless you are literally the high school level, education level, which again gives you no voice in this situation. So shush. Fix what you can, learn what you must, build what you want. Stop performing helplessness. The world does not need more people making excuses for why they cannot grow. It needs people with standards, discipline, courage, and enough self-respect to become better without being begged to become better. Because deep down, you have to want to be a better person. That's how anybody changes or evolves or grows. If it's not intrinsically one of your values that you have decided for yourself, I will live and die by this value of growth, that I want to become the best version of myself and operate at my highest potential and the best level as humanly possible without having to step on other people, backstab people, betray people. That's a decision you have to make. And not at the expense of anybody else. And your personal investment of how you spend your money, your hard-earned money, back into yourself, your education, your dreams, your foundation. Because ain't nobody else paying for you but yourself. And that is how you stop being pathetic. You become responsible. You learn how to have your own house, pay all your bills on time, start a savings account, start a routine of your healthy financial habits, your healthy behaviors, you're taking care of people, you're paying off a car, you're buying assets, you're making friends, you're investing into your education, and you rely on you to trust yourself that you will pay your bills on time every time. That is responsibility. And that is how you stop being pathetic. All right, so it's just been such a long time since we got to chat. This was such a long video. I really thought I had written just like a short amount of information there, and that ended up being like so long. We've been chatting for like an hour and 10 minutes. I guess I do like the short form video content alongside the long time video content. And I'm the kind of person where some days during the week, I want like a full hour and a bit of content in my background to listen to while I'm meal prepping, getting into the gym, working on myself, making a check-in quarterly. I like that kind of background noise. So maybe you can apply these long form content videos to your background noise if you're anything like me in that regard of you want to grow to your next level, and this video might help you get your personality audit together. Further, you can also look out for some short form content from me, as my style will continue to have like 20-minute short form video content alongside the long form, because I understand your short attention span. Now I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much for sharing your time, space, and energy with me. This has been so much fun. I really love this chat and I love reading through my blogs with you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Help me grow my channel. I think it would be so fun for you to share this with all of your pathetic friends, family members, anybody you think is just pathetic. Just send this video to them and be like, you're so pathetic today. Stop being so pathetic. Feels good to do that sometimes. Call people out. Yeah, I just invite you to go and call people out and tell them how pathetic they are and live your life. Okay, until the next video. Bye.